In the quiet town of Willowbrook, nestled deep within a dense forest, there stood an old mansion that cast a shadow of unease upon all who passed by. Locals spoke of it in hushed tones, claiming it was haunted by the spirits of its former occupants, the notorious Van der Meer family. Legend had it that the Van der Meers were once wealthy aristocrats who held lavish parties in the mansion's grand halls. But one fateful night, during a thunderstorm that shook the very foundations of Willowbrook, tragedy struck. The family disappeared without a trace, leaving behind rooms frozen in time, adorned with decaying portraits and furniture draped in cobwebs. Despite numerous attempts to sell or renovate the mansion, each prospective buyer was driven away by inexplicable occurrences. Some reported hearing eerie whispers echoing through the corridors at night, while others swore they saw shadows darting across the windows, even though the mansion was supposedly empty. The townspeople avoided the mansion, fearing the restless spirits rumored to wander its darkened rooms. They warned curious visitors to steer clear, lest they disturb the slumbering ghosts that prowled the estate. Over time, the mansion became a symbol of dread and mystery, its imposing silhouette a constant reminder of the secrets it held. One chilly autumn evening, a group of adventurous teenagers from Willowbrook decided to test their courage by venturing into the mansion. Armed with flashlights and nerves of steel, they crept through the overgrown garden and pushed open the creaking front door. Inside, the air was thick with dust and the silence oppressive. They wandered cautiously through the dimly lit halls, their footsteps echoing eerily against the cold stone floors. As they explored further, strange things began to happen. Doors slammed shut on their own, cold drafts chilled the air around them, and a distant piano played a haunting melody from some unseen corner of the mansion. Heartbeats quickened as they stumbled upon a grand ballroom, its once opulent chandeliers now swaying gently as if moved by unseen hands. Suddenly, the temperature dropped drastically, and a chilling mist materialized before their eyes, taking the form of a woman in a flowing gown. Frozen in fear, the teenagers watched as the ghostly figure drifted towards them, her eyes fixed on them with a sorrowful gaze. She whispered a name lost to time, and vanished into thin air, leaving behind an aura of sadness that hung heavy in the room. Terrified and shaken, the teenagers fled from the mansion, vowing never to return. They shared their harrowing experience with the townspeople, reaffirming the mansion's reputation as a place best left undisturbed. To this day, the old Van der Meer mansion remains abandoned, its secrets buried within its walls. The townspeople continue to whisper tales of the restless spirits that roam the halls, warning all who dare to tread near. Beware the mansion's dark allure, for some mysteries are better left unsolved. Months passed after the teenagers' chilling encounter at the Van der Meer mansion, but the whispers and rumors surrounding the old estate only grew stronger. Despite warnings and superstitions, curiosity continued to gnaw at the edges of some residents' minds, particularly those who couldn't resist the allure of the unexplained. Among them was Emily, a young journalist new to Willowbrook. Intrigued by the tales she heard from locals at the town's quaint cafe, she became determined to uncover the truth behind the mansion's haunting reputation. Armed with a notepad, a camera, and a resolute spirit, Emily set out one misty morning to investigate. The mansion loomed before her, its ivy-clad walls and broken windows seeming to beckon her closer. Ignoring the lingering doubts that tugged at her resolve, Emily pushed open the rusted gates and stepped onto the overgrown path leading to the front door. The air around her seemed charged with an eerie energy, as if the mansion itself was aware of her presence. Inside, Emily's footsteps echoed through the deserted corridors, her flashlight casting long shadows that danced on the walls. The silence was oppressive, broken only by the occasional creak of old floorboards beneath her feet. She wandered cautiously, documenting every detail: the faded wallpaper, the crumbling statues, the dust-covered furniture, as if piecing together a puzzle that had long been forgotten. As she ventured deeper into the mansion's labyrinthine interior, Emily felt a chill in the air that had nothing to do with the temperature. It was as if the very atmosphere held memories of past sorrows and whispered secrets. She paused in front of a grand staircase, its once elegant banister now worn and splintered. Something drew her gaze upwards, to the upper floors where darkness seemed to linger like a shroud. Summoning her courage, Emily ascended the stairs, her heart pounding with a mixture of fear and fascination. Each step seemed to echo louder than the last, until she reached a hallway bathed in dim light filtering through cracked windows. It was here that she saw it, a portrait hanging crookedly on the wall, its frame covered in layers of dust. Approaching cautiously, Emily brushed aside the cobwebs and gasped as she recognized the faces staring back at her. The Van der Meer family, frozen in a moment of opulence and haunting sorrow. Their eyes seemed to follow her every move, as if pleading for release from a timeless agony. Lost in her thoughts, Emily almost didn't notice the faint sound echoing down the hallway. A soft melody, haunting yet strangely beautiful. Intrigued, she followed the sound to a partially open door at the end of the corridor. Pushing it open, she entered a room bathed in a soft, ethereal light. There, standing by an old grand piano, was a figure dressed in a tattered gown, her back turned towards Emily. The melody continued to flow from the keys, filling the room with an otherworldly presence. Emily's breath caught in her throat as she realized she was face to face with the spirit of the mansion. The ghost turned slowly, her expression a mix of sadness and longing. Without uttering a word, she extended a hand towards Emily, offering a glimpse into the past, of lavish parties and whispered secrets, of love and loss that had transcended the boundaries of life and death. Overwhelmed by the encounter, Emily could only nod silently, tears welling in her eyes as she felt a profound connection with the spirit before her. It was as if she had uncovered a piece of history long buried beneath layers of rumor and fear. The ghost smiled faintly, a gesture filled with bittersweet gratitude, before fading into the mists of time once more. Emily stood alone in the room, her heart heavy yet strangely uplifted by the experience. Leaving the mansion that day, Emily carried with her not just a story, but a deeper understanding of the mysteries that bound Willowbrook to its haunted past. And though the townspeople continued to speak in whispers of the Van der Meer mansion, Emily knew that some mysteries were meant to be explored, not feared. As Emily walked out of the Van der Meer mansion, her mind was abuzz with the haunting encounter she had just experienced. The melancholic melody of the piano still echoed faintly in her ears, and the presence of the ghostly figure lingered vividly in her thoughts. Determined to uncover more about the mansion's history and the Van der Meer family, Emily delved deeper into her investigation. She spent hours at the local library, poring over dusty archives and yellowed newspaper clippings that chronicled the rise and fall of the once prominent family. Piece by piece, she unraveled the tangled web of secrets that had shrouded the mansion for decades. The Van der Meers were indeed a wealthy and influential clan in the late 19th century, known for their extravagant parties and charitable contributions to the town. However, their fortune took a dark turn when tragedy struck on a stormy night over a century ago. Emily discovered that on that fateful night, a fire had engulfed the mansion, claiming the lives of most of the Van der Meer family. The cause of the fire remained a mystery, but speculation pointed to foul play, a feud with rival families, whispers of betrayal, and a curse that supposedly haunted the Van der Meers for generations. Among the few survivors was Isabel van der Meer, the youngest daughter of the family, who had been away at boarding school at the time of the tragedy. Isabel returned to Willowbrook after the fire, but her life was forever marked by loss and grief. She became reclusive, rarely seen in public, and eventually passed away in the mansion many years later, alone and forgotten by the outside world. Emily's research also unearthed tales of sightings and encounters with Isabel's ghost over the years. Locals spoke of a woman in a flowing gown wandering the mansion's halls, her presence both eerie and mournful. Some claimed to have heard the faint strains of a piano playing late into the night, echoing through the abandoned rooms. Armed with this newfound knowledge, Emily felt compelled to share the true story of the Van der Meer mansion, a tale of love, tragedy, and lingering spirits that defied the passage of time. She wrote a detailed article for the local newspaper, weaving together historical facts with the personal accounts of those who had encountered the mansion's ghostly inhabitants. The article sparked renewed interest in Willowbrook's haunted history, drawing visitors from far and wide who were eager to experience the mansion's paranormal phenomena for themselves. Emily became somewhat of a local celebrity, known for her bravery in uncovering the truth behind the town's most infamous landmark. As the years passed, the Van der Meer mansion underwent a transformation. It was no longer a place feared and avoided but a symbol of Willowbrook's rich and mysterious past. Tourists flocked to guided tours of the mansion, hoping to catch a glimpse of Isabel's ghost or hear the faint strains of her haunting melody. Emily continued her career as a journalist, occasionally revisiting Willowbrook to write follow-up articles on the mansion and its enduring allure. She never forgot the profound connection she had felt with Isabel's spirit that day in the mansion, and she often wondered if Isabel had finally found peace knowing that her story had been told. In the end, the Van der Meer mansion became more than just a haunted house. It became a testament to the power of storytelling, the resilience of memory, and the enduring presence of those who linger beyond the veil of death. And as Emily looked back on her journey, she realized that some mysteries were not meant to be solved completely, but to be embraced as part of the fabric of a town's identity and folklore. Years passed since Emily's transformative encounter at the Van der Meer mansion. The once dilapidated estate had undergone significant restoration efforts, funded by the influx of tourists drawn to its haunted history. Guided tours became a staple attraction, led by local historians who shared Emily's meticulously researched findings and the captivating tales of Isabel van der Meer's ghostly presence. Emily herself had moved on from Willowbrook, pursuing a successful career in investigative journalism that took her to various corners of the globe. Yet, despite her travels and accomplishments, the memory of the Van der Meer mansion and the enigmatic Isabel remained etched deeply in her consciousness. One brisk autumn afternoon, a letter arrived at Emily's doorstep. It bore the seal of Willowbrook's Historical Society, an organization she had worked closely with during her time there. Curious, she opened it to find an invitation, a formal request for her presence at the unveiling of a new exhibit dedicated to the history of the Van der Meer family and the mansion. Intrigued and nostalgic, Emily decided to return to Willowbrook for the event. The town had changed since her departure. The once quiet streets were now bustling with tourists eager to explore its historic sites, including the beautifully restored mansion that had captured the imaginations of so many. The evening of the exhibit unveiling arrived amidst a buzz of anticipation. Emily mingled with old acquaintances and new faces, all connected by their fascination with the mansion's haunted legacy. As she walked through the exhibit, she was struck by the meticulous curation. The artifacts, photographs, and documents laid out in chronological order, telling the story of the Van der Meer family's rise and tragic fall. At the heart of the exhibit stood a life-sized portrait of Isabel van der Meer, painted in her youth, capturing a haunting beauty that seemed to transcend time. Emily found herself drawn to the portrait, studying the delicate brushstrokes that depicted Isabel's sorrowful gaze and the hint of a smile that spoke of hidden depths. Lost in thought, Emily almost didn't notice the familiar strains of a piano melody drifting through the air. It was soft, almost imperceptible, yet unmistakably the same haunting tune she had heard in the mansion years ago. She followed the sound to a secluded corner of the exhibit hall, where a replica of Isabel's beloved grand piano had been meticulously recreated. Standing before the piano was an elderly man, his weathered hands gently caressing the keys with a tenderness that belied his years. He glanced up as Emily approached, his eyes twinkling with a mix of nostalgia and sadness. "You must be Emily," he said softly, his voice tinged with emotion. "I've heard so much about you." Emily nodded, a flood of memories rushing back to her. "And you must be William," she replied, recognizing the man who had shared his childhood memories of the Van der Meer family during her research years ago. William smiled warmly, his gaze drifting towards the portrait of Isabel. "She loved to play this piano," he said wistfully. Music was her solace, her way of expressing the pain she carried inside. Together, Emily and William exchanged stories of their shared fascination with the mansion's history, of the townspeople's enduring beliefs in its haunted past, and of the legacy left behind by the Van der Meers. They spoke of Isabel with reverence, acknowledging the tragic circumstances that had shaped her life and the enduring mystery of her spirit's presence in the mansion. As the evening wore on, Emily felt a sense of closure, a deep understanding that some mysteries were not meant to be fully unraveled, but cherished for the truths they revealed about human resilience and the enduring power of memory. Before she left Willowbrook once more, Emily visited the Vandermeer mansion one last time. Standing in the moonlit garden, she felt a fleeting presence beside her. A whisper of a breeze, a faint echo of laughter, as if Isabel herself was bidding her farewell. With a sense of gratitude and peace, Emily turned away from the mansion, knowing that its story and Isabel's would forever be a part of her own journey. And as she drove away, leaving the town behind in the rearview mirror, she carried with her not just memories, but a profound connection to a place and a spirit that had touched her life in ways she could never have imagined. Months passed after Emily's return to Willowbrook for the exhibit unveiling. Life had settled back into its usual rhythm, yet the memories of the Vandermeer mansion and Isabel's haunting presence continued to linger in Emily's mind like a cherished melody. She often found herself reflecting on the lessons learned from her time in the town, of resilience, the power of storytelling, and the enduring bond between past and present. One crisp spring morning, Emily received an unexpected phone call. It was from the Historical Society of Willowbrook, inviting her to participate in a special project commemorating the town's rich history, including a deeper exploration of the Vandermeer legacy. Honored by the invitation and intrigued by the opportunity to delve further into her favorite subject, Emily eagerly accepted. Over the following weeks, Emily immersed herself once again in research, this time collaborating closely with local historians, archivists, and even descendants of the Vandermeer family who had returned to Willowbrook. Together, they unearthed new artifacts and personal accounts that shed light on previously unknown aspects of Isabel's life and the mansion's history. One particularly poignant discovery was a series of letters exchanged between Isabel and her childhood sweetheart, Thomas, a young artist who had captured her heart with his sketches and gentle demeanor. The letters revealed a love story that had transcended social boundaries and the tragedies that befell the Vandermeer family. Emily also uncovered more about Isabel's passion for music and her talent as a pianist, which had provided solace during the turbulent times before the fire that devastated the mansion. Through interviews with elderly residents who still remembered Isabel in her later years, Emily pieced together a portrait of a woman who had endured loss and isolation yet had left an indelible mark on the town's collective memory. As the project progressed, Emily found herself drawn back to Willowbrook more frequently, reconnecting with old friends and forging new relationships with those who shared her passion for local history. Together, they began planning a series of events and exhibits that would celebrate Willowbrook's heritage, with the Vandermeer mansion as its centerpiece. The grand finale of the project was a gala event held on a balmy summer evening. The town square was adorned with twinkling lights and vibrant decorations, and residents and visitors alike gathered to commemorate the unveiling of the completed exhibit and to honor the legacy of the Vandermeer family. Emily stood at the podium, surrounded by the people whose lives had become intertwined with hers through their shared fascination with Willowbrook's past. She spoke passionately about the journey of discovery that had led them all here, the stories uncovered, the memories preserved, and the enduring spirit of Isabel Vandermeer that had captured their hearts. As she concluded her speech, Emily glanced towards the Vandermeer mansion, its restored facade glowing softly in the moonlight. She felt a sense of fulfillment and gratitude, knowing that their efforts had not only preserved history, but had also strengthened the bonds of their community. In the years that followed, Willowbrook thrived as a destination for history enthusiasts and curious travelers alike. The Vandermeer mansion became a beacon of heritage and storytelling, a place where visitors could explore the past while honoring the spirits that lingered within its walls. And for Emily, the town held a special place in her heart, a place where she had discovered not only a compelling story, but also a deeper understanding of the connections that weave through time and memory. As she reflected on her experiences in Willowbrook, Emily knew that some mysteries were meant to be explored, cherished, and shared, for they held the power to illuminate the human experience and transcend the boundaries between past and present. Years passed, and Emily's involvement with Willowbrook's historical preservation efforts continued to deepen. She became a respected figure in the community, known for her unwavering dedication to uncovering and celebrating the town's rich heritage. The Vandermeer Mansion thrived under Emily's guidance and the ongoing support of the Historical Society. What was once a feared and abandoned relic had transformed into a vibrant cultural center and museum, attracting scholars, artists, and tourists from around the world. The mansion's halls were filled with exhibitions that showcased not only the Vandermeer family's history but also the broader narrative of Willowbrook, from its early settlers to its industrial boom and beyond. One of the most popular exhibits curated by Emily focused on Isabel Vandermeer herself. Through artifacts, personal letters, and multimedia presentations, visitors could immerse themselves in Isabel's world, a world marked by tragedy, love, and the enduring presence of her spirit within the mansion. Emily's work extended beyond the museum walls. She collaborated with local schools to develop educational programs that brought Willowbrook's history to life for students, inspiring a new generation to appreciate the town's past and envision its future. She also published a book, Echoes of Willowbrook, unveiling the mysteries of the Vandermeer Mansion, which became a bestseller, further cementing the mansion's place in the annals of haunted folklore and historical intrigue. Throughout her journey, Emily never forgot the pivotal role that Isabel's ghostly presence had played in her life. She often found herself drawn back to the mansion, especially on quiet evenings when the sun dipped below the horizon and the air was thick with the scent of wildflowers. On these occasions, she would sit in the mansion's garden, contemplating the passage of time and the enduring power of stories that transcended generations. As Willowbrook continued to evolve, Emily remained a steadfast advocate for its history and culture. She mentored young historians and preservationists, imparting her knowledge and passion for uncovering the hidden narratives that shaped their town. Together, they worked tirelessly to ensure that Willowbrook's legacy would endure for future generations, preserving not only its physical landmarks but also the intangible threads of memory and folklore that bound the community together. In her quieter moments, Emily often thought about the elderly man, William, whom she had met during her first visit to the mansion. They had kept in touch over the years, exchanging letters and sharing memories of their shared experiences with Isabel's ghostly presence. William had become a dear friend and confidant, a link to the past that Emily cherished deeply. One autumn afternoon, as Emily walked through the bustling town square, she noticed a familiar figure sitting on a bench beneath the shade of an old oak tree. It was William, his weathered face softened by a gentle smile as he waved her over. "Emily," he greeted warmly, patting the space beside him on the bench. "It's good to see you." Emily sat down beside him, feeling a sense of peace settle over her. They sat in companionable silence for a while, watching the townspeople go about their daily lives, each person unknowingly contributing to the ongoing tapestry of Willowbrook's story. "I never imagined we'd come this far," William said softly, breaking the silence. "From whispers in the night to a vibrant community that celebrates its history with pride." Emily nodded, her gaze drifting towards the distant silhouette of the Vandermeer Mansion against the twilight sky. "It's been quite a journey," she agreed, her voice filled with gratitude. As they sat together, reminiscing about the past and dreaming of the future, Emily felt a gentle breeze sweep through the square, carrying with it a faint echo of music, a melody that seemed to resonate with the laughter and tears of generations past. In that moment, Emily knew that the spirit of Isabel Vandermeer continued to watch over Willowbrook, her presence woven into the fabric of the town's enduring legacy. And as long as there were stories to be told and mysteries to uncover, Emily would remain steadfast in her commitment to preserving the magic of Willowbrook for all who sought to discover its hidden treasures.